Welcome back to the City of Palms podcast, everybody. This is episode 70.
Hey,
How you doing, Danny? How was your day?
I'm doing good, man. My day was good. I like to say I'm blessed and highly favored. That's my new go-to. So
Blessed and
doing
highly
good.
favored. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started out on a
Winning
winning streak today, too. Pretty average day. Today, we've got DJ promo, and I want to start. I think the simplest way to start is just to ask you, what's your deal? Like if some random person on the street were to ask like who you are and what you do, what would you tell them?
It depends on the situation. I DJ, I produce, I engineer. I do it all pretty much. You know, it depends on the situation of a track. Sometimes I've helped artists with lyrics, so I can write.
What?
I think it just, I adapt to every situation, but mainly you either find me in the studio, DJing, or with my son. So, it's one of those three things.
How long have you been DJing and like in the studio and whatnot?
I started DJing actually in 2010. I started the classic way, you work your summer. I got a little turntable. I worked in Puerto Rico for a whole summer, saved up enough bread, and I got my first DJ equipment. It was a CDJs, so I had to do everything by no computer, just by USB.
Oh, what?
I did house parties, little things like that, and eventually within time, within actually less than a year, I had got a residency at the Warehouse Teen Club in Cape Coral. It was like a short-lasting club, but it was actually a pretty dope vibe. It used to be packed. They used to do every Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays, and it was pretty lit. So at 18, I was already DJing in the club. I was in clubs since underage too. Like 16, I was already going to clubs 21 and up with the DJs and just learning and indulging in that experience. And I feel like from a young age, seeing that kind of hyped me up to kind of want to pursue it more.
You were born and raised in Southwest Florida?
So I was born in Fort Lauderdale, in Broward, and I was first raised in Miami. My parents were originally living in Miami already, but my uncle happened to be a doctor at a hospital, so it was like the hookup. Going to Fort Lauderdale, it's like 30-minute drive.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually, I was from Miami first. I moved from Miami when I was like 5 actually to Cape Coral.
Oh, what?
And then was in Cape Coral for all of my duration till like college, and then I went to Orlando.
Nice. Were you always pretty musical throughout school and everything?
I started really getting into music deep like in middle school. I think it was 5th grade when I first wrote my first song. I still remember lyrics to this day. I'm not a rapper, but
Yeah, we got the beat.
Nah, my brother, he was in the military, and when he was in Iraq, like I was feeling some type of way about him being on war. So like I wrote some shit about how I felt.
Dang.
I'm sorry, can we curse?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so yeah. So I wrote some lyrics, and my cousin was actually a poet, and she checked it out, and she was like, "Yo, this is actually dope." And I was like, I always had a piano around me since I was like 3 years old in Miami. So I always used to like play like melodies. I didn't know nothing about music theory, but I try to create things, and I was always around music. It was just there as part. Growing up as a kid, kids would be like, "Yo, you heard this kid named DMX, 50 Cent?" We're in elementary school, so it kind of naturally blossomed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Who were some of the people that inspired that song you wrote?
Like who? Like just getting into music, or just writing that specific song?
Like when as you were realizing like, oh, I could do this too. Who were some of the people you were looking at as like inspiration as far as their lyricism?
I was a big fan of Timbaland and Dr. Dre, Scott Storch, and Diddy growing up. So like seeing how they work in a room, to me, I was always looked at myself like I don't want to just be a producer, just an engineer, but I want to know what everyone's doing so I can use that and utilize that in a session. So
Valuable. Yeah.
Yeah. So like a lot of times like in a session, sometimes like an artist might know what they want or they don't know what they want. So it's my understanding as a professional to know when it's my time to step in and when I'm crossing a line or not, and adapt to every artist's workflow. But sometimes there's sessions where I gotta hold the artist's hand and just help them create a song from scratch. I'm like, yo, I think you should hit harmonies like this. Let's do 2 highs, 2 lows, pan them out left and right. So, those sessions, that's why I'm more in a producer role. And I feel like seeing how Diddy worked in the studio, all these, I used to watch. I just watch studio sessions for days on YouTube. You'll see the sessions how they work. It's like, yo, it's just like how we do it, but from a higher standpoint.
Yeah.
So,
Dang.
Luckily I've been around some great people to get some good experience and grasp that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is it? How is it adjusting to like, I'm sure you've worked with a lot of people and like some good and like when you're saying, you don't know when to overstep or like not, you want to help them and you want to steer them in the right direction. Is it ever hard? Like when you want to do somebody right, but they have a certain vision of like, no, this is how I'm going to do it.
It can be, but once again, like if someone's paying me just to hit, be their engineer, at the end of the day, my task as an engineer is to record, mix it, and how they want at their discretion.
Yeah.
But
Definitely.
a lot, luckily I'm in a good position now where people trust me what I do. So, for the
For
most
sure.
part, it's like, yo, do what you do, and I do, and they're happy. But there are some artists that they're very distinct and they want a certain way. But at the end of the day, if that's what you're paying for and you're happy with it, that's my goal. It's not about my vision; it's about your vision as an artist.
Yeah.
If you're coming to the studio and you say, "Yo, I want it this way," and you say, "Yo, it's not going the way you want it to," but I'm trying to tell you hit it a certain way. I'm not gonna argue with you. Like, if you don't want my advice, that's what it is. All right, are you
Yeah.
happy with it? That's what you can get from me at that point. Because
Mm-hmm.
you get some artists where they say, "What do you think?" I think you should hit it like this. No, I like it that way. All right, well.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
But
True.
then you have some artists like, "What do you think?" Maybe we should try like this. It might work, it might not work, but it's better that you tried it and realize, okay, yes or no.
Yeah.
So.
Was it kind of like nervous at first whenever you were like kind of taking on more than just the, or was it confidence from
When
the get-go?
artists relied on me to complete their track.
Yeah, because what if you're thinking like, oh, I think this is gonna be
Yeah.
good, but like, did you ever have any doubt in your head?
I mean, there's been moments where it's not necessarily the doubt of like, I have good ideas and I have like, I think we can make this song come to life, but at the end of the day, I can only do so much to make artists on their end come out with their delivery.
Yeah.
Because, they might have the greatest idea, but they might not be able to make that happen.
Mhm.
They might not be able to hit that note, or no matter how many hit takes we do, it's just not them. And it is what it is.
Mhm.
I think it's up to artists to know whether or not it's for them. Sometimes you could just take that writing credit and make someone else ride with that. You still get the vision to where you want it, but
For sure.
Yeah. And so I want to know, in a perfect world too, like in your perfect world, would you still be doing everything you're doing? Would you only be producing, only engineering, only DJing?
I like being able to have different options of what I do, and it's all involved in music at the end of the day. Because even then, when I'm DJing, I'm really a DJ. Like, I mix, and I even like to cut and scratch. So like, I'm mixing live like I would be in the studio. I'm messing with the EQ, filters, echoes. I'm creating a live mix at a different. So it's like a different feel. Like, I'm still messing with frequencies. It's just being able to manipulate audio. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
So when I'm DJing live, I'm over here creating a new sound, but people are loving it. And when I'm in the studio, I'm creating a different sound from what they started with. I just like being able to have my hands on everything. So for me, I feel like the rest of my career, I'm looking at just continuing that branding of,
For sure.
look, either I'll produce a record with you, I'll create the beat, I'll program the drums, I'll get a guitarist in here that I know will be perfect for this kind of vibe. We'll do that, and then have the artist record. Or I might just say, hey, come in, what you got for me, bet. Let me mix it and bring it back to life. Or I might just want to be in the club or at a concert and spin for a live crowd, They're all my escapes. I love them equally. So
Word.
luckily I've been able to have a good balance to where like my career is like full time. That's all I do. I don't do anything but either I'm at the studio or DJing. There's no other job for me. So
Hell yeah, dude! Congrats.
That's
yeah,
sick.
it's a long
Yeah.
time coming, but now it's like obviously excellent to where the financial freedom and the dreams and stuff. Like, I still, check to check, struggling like everyone else, but my 9 to 5 is music for the most part.
Yeah, dude,
That's
that's
awesome.
good
It's
for
not
your
9 to
soul.
5 because
Yeah.
but
Man. Yeah, that's sick. Yeah, that is truly a dream.
it
Man.
was
That's
steps
awesome.
though. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, I start off like just dreaming about it to like, just shadowing someone to eventually
Yeah,
back
you're only
up
yeah,
to the beginning
yeah,
main.
and you're only gonna get better, and your dreams it's only gonna get bigger. The vision,
Yeah,
you know.
definitely.
Yeah. Are you formally educated in like music theory or anything like that, or is it all self-taught?
So when I was in high school, senior year, I took like a music theory class, a band with the band teacher. But I was wild in high school, so I was pretty much wild. I wasn't as focused. I knew I wanted to do music. I knew I was gonna be good at it, but also at the same time, like I wasn't like as focused as I should have been. But when I got into college, I went to Full Sail. I learned I got a bachelor's in recording arts.
Oh,
So I
damn.
studied music business and engineering and all that. So, I mean, that's what really changed my whole mentality. Before college, like, my mentality was different. I wasn't really into networking and meeting people. I was more cut off. Like, hey, if I don't know you, don't talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
Ignorant mentality. But going to school, especially a good school like that, I learned a lot about people from all over differences. We come together and we could create a final product. This sounds amazing. That's what I've learned. Like, I've met people from all over, and at the end of the day, it's like I never in a normal life would expect to have to be cool with them. But then, creating a song together brought us together to where it's like, yeah, I can understand you from a different perspective because
Mm-hmm.
the frequency is energy. People can understand things, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, going to school helped me really learn how to really be professional and talk with people, build relationships, and have a bigger ambition and see the bigger picture of things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
So were there certain people you met or maybe places you visited that did start to get you to go from like doing your thing in your room to like DJing shows and like going
Yeah.
out and doing things for the public?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. While I was at Full Sail, I ended up meeting DJ Swivel, Jordan Young. He's one of Beyonce and Jay-Z's main engineers.
Oh, what?
He works at Jungle City Studios. He's actually a really dope engineer, and he's a Full Sail alumni and like the Hall of Fame. He comes every year as like a guest speaker to Full Sail.
Oh.
So I ended up, the first experience of like wanting to really see like, you know, break out and be more ambitious was he came as a guest speaker to the school, you know, did his thing on stage. Everyone's clearing out the auditorium or whatever. And I snuck behind the stage. Like, there was security that tried to stop me, but I was like, I got to talk to this guy before he leaves on his jet type stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I was the only one in the whole school, like, that ended up getting past security. And right when security was about to kick me out, there was, like, the guy who was moderating, like, the interview, like, kind of like what you're doing right now. For him, he was like, what's up with you? Like, what's going on? I was like, oh, I'm going to New York next month. And I would love to visit the studio, maybe get some type of insight. I was lying. I was never going to New York next month. But it was like just to meet that guy. So he was like, come here, let him through. And then I ended up going to like the back room, his dressing room, and chopping it up with him. Nice. And he was like, hey, send me an email, and I'll make sure you come to New York. You come to the studio, we'll give you a tour and give you some background insight. You know,
what?
So I ended up flying out. I had to figure it out. So I, you know, being in college, like I had took out loans, so I get disbursements. So I ended up actually taking some of my grocery money enough to get a plane ticket, and I hit up my boy Josh, DJ Sway J, who's living in New York at the time. You guys actually
Yeah.
He's gonna be at Llama House this Friday, so I had to put that out there. But
hell yeah.
He actually was like, "Yo, come through. I got you on food and transportation, like just straight." So I was like, bet. I had just enough money to make it there to New York and back. So I spent a week out there for Thanksgiving break because it just happened to be Thanksgiving break for college. So I had a week off. So I was like, "Yo, we're gonna go there." We went together on a tour to where Jay-Z records most of his hits. Like Alicia Keys' piano was there. I played it a little bit.
Bro.
We went to the rooftop, and it was like in downtown New York. So it was a cool experience. Like I was seeing the badass studio, and I'm like, I'm here right now where Jay-Z recorded Empire State of Mind with Alicia Keys. Like they had an old analog board there that the Beatles recorded with back in the day, just there as like show. But it's like it's just being around that kind of energy.
Yeah.
It was like waking me because like when you're out here, it's like you don't see that as much. You know, I guess our studio would be per se the most industry close studio you could get out here, but you people, you know, when you see a bigger studio where bigger names are, that puts a different energy in you.
For sure.
Yeah, and the people around you too, like being around those sorts of people, like that definitely.
Seeing how reachable it is and realizing the art of communication and being genuine, creating relationships, and also ambition and be persistent. Like seeing that right there, like when I just gained that, and then the next thing you know, I'm in New York. I'm talking about, yeah, remember when Live Love ASAP came out from A$AP Rocky?
Yeah.
His first project?
Yep.
He was talking about, this is where they had the release party, and it was like, we're on the rooftop where it was. I was like, man, they're really, like, I must be doing something right to be coming across this kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude, the
So,
stars align.
Coming back from that, you know, back to Full Sail, was like, I put in work, you know? Eventually, I ended up being freelance, you know, while I was in school on the side, and I even got myself a Billboard credit before I graduated college, with a Grammy awarded artist. You know,
Sick.
What?
That's amazing.
and I wasn't graduated yet, and I was still. I recorded in my bedroom. Yeah, it was crazy.
Who was that?
So his name's Richie Ray. He was in a duo called Richie Ray and Bobby Cruz. So in salsa music, it's a whole other world. But in salsa music, back in like the 70s and 60s, there was La Fania All Stars, which is like the best of the best in Latin music from the world into one band. It's like the best lead singer. They had the best bass guitarist, like the best of everything. And the pianist was Richie Ray. Well, La Fania All Stars was the group, but then like he already had his own thing going where he's won Grammys and was touring worldwide into salsa music back in the day. My aunt was had worked with him in the past, and somehow we had linked, and he was looking for. He happened to know that I was an engineer in the making, so like he didn't want to have to go all the way to Miami to record, and he happened to be living in Cape Coral, because you know sometimes people find little cities and they just duck off. So basically, yeah, he reached out to her to reach out to me. I was like, "What happened to be in the city? He could just come to the house." And I said he just had to record piano and stuff, and I edited it, sent it to a studio in Puerto Rico, and that was enough to get me a credit on a song. And the song hit #1 on the top 100 Billboard charts for tropical sales in 2000. I think it was 2014. I'm not too sure. It's printed somewhere.
Dang, how long
awesome.
after visiting the studio in New York did that happen?
Probably about a year.
Dang.
This is when I had torn my ACL playing basketball. So like I took 6 months off from college, and I happened to be in Cape Coral. That's why the timing happened. So like while I literally had my leg up like this, like up on the bed, and I remember we were recording him on Pro Tools.
Dang.
And then cut it up and send it to the studio. Now they got me a credit on the album. When you open the album case, my name's in there, and that motivated me even more. So could you imagine, like, you know?
Yeah, dude,
So,
that's awesome.
that was
yeah.
pretty cool.
Fuck, dude, that's sick. Congrats.
Yeah. When that happened, I realized, I'm doing something right, and I ended up linking with Bushwick Bill from the Ghetto Boys. Rest in peace. He's passed away now, but so I don't know if you guys are tuned into old school hip hop, but there's an artist named Scarface. He's done tracks like Tupac, but he was in a Houston group called the Ghetto Boys, and they went platinum back in the day. They're like old school legends. They're known as like the founders of Dirty South hip hop. And he happened to be passing through Full Sail. Like, it was like, must have been like a late night. I was stopping at McDonald's with Crash Pass, and that was another one that, like, I recognized him. It was a rapper from the group, Bushwick Bill. And we established that relationship. I was like, yo, he's like, you know any open mic nights? I'm trying to spit while I'm in town. I was like, yo, tomorrow at Full Sail, boom, 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 boom. Next thing you know, he shows up, we show up, we caught a vibe. He was like, where were you? We needed an engineer last night at the studio. I was like, how am I going to know?
Give him your card.
We ended up spending a whole month together working every day in the studio, like, engineering.
Damn.
Like,
Nice.
and he took me under his wing. He toured with Tupac. So it was like, he was telling me everything about the backstory, like hanging out with Tupac, the way we're hanging out right now.
Whoa.
And it's like, Tupac was my favorite rapper growing up. So like, hearing stuff like that, like, I don't know. It's weird things like that. It's like, he just kept motivating me.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And I hadn't
Those are
graduated yet,
amazing
you know?
milestones. Yeah, all
So,
before you did graduated college.
Right.
Yeah, I must have been
Sick.
like 21, 20. So I'm 27 now.
So I could see how you could go into your work at like nowadays with total confidence when it comes to like helping artists and this,
Yeah.
because like you've built that.
I still get nervous sometimes with new clients. Even like, I have a client that books just a 2-hour session, a basic, like, hey, I'm still new to this. And I'll still get nervous sometimes because it's about like, I'm more of like, it's not just about how good I am, but it's also the relationships.
Yeah.
And it's just about wanting to make sure that chemistry's right. Because I value what I do with my time and my effort, you know? I value my clientele.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually it's led to where clients become friends, and I care about their music enough to like, yo, let me hit up an entertainment lawyer. Let me see what they can do for you. Let me reach out to a producer that might be perfect for you. I don't want nothing out of it. Just, if it could benefit you, it could benefit your music. That's all I care about, because that's the goal, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
Can't hold back.
Yep.
So then you graduated from Full Sail?
Yeah, I graduated in 2014 from Full Sail.
How far along? When did you get the job at the facility?
So I graduated 2014. I loved Orlando so much, I was like, damn, I want to stay out here. I had to get a normal job after I graduated. It's not like you graduate and go straight to the dream job.
Yeah.
And obviously Orlando's oversaturated with like everyone from Full Sail like trying to get it, and they'll work for free. So, you know, the standard usually in the music industry is you intern, you know, then you could get an assistant position, then you get the backup position, then you get a residency, and then you became the main, you know. But this is a different area, you know. I had got lucky that I was in Orlando for a year working a normal job. Was nothing going for me. I realized, yo, maybe it's time to go back home and then recalibrate from there. Because originally my goal was go to Orlando, get a bachelor's degree. I did that. But for a while I was like, yo, I got to go to the next step from here. So going back home felt like a failure to me. I was so discouraged. Like, I was a little depressed. Came back, got a job at Target.
Dang.
You know, like I was going at 3 a.m, unload the trucks. I was doing all that. And within that time period, I'm just like, damn, I went to this badass school, had these badass milestones, like you were saying. Now I'm over here at Target, like, trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
And I was doing part-time at Target, and at the time I had roommates. I had some friends of mine that, you know, we were having a house. And all I did was partying, to be honest. But eventually, you know, I was like, yo, I got to get back into ambition mode. I started reaching out to studios. I went to Vibe before they closed down. They were like, oh, we'll get back to you, but typically we take students from our classes because they had a little school system, which is expected, first come, first serve. Like, if you're a student, you should get internship there.
Yeah.
I didn't know about the facility yet, but I looked at all the studios. There was really nothing to offer. I shadowed one guy who had a little studio for a little bit, but it was nothing really to where I wanted to be, what I expected for what I wanted to do. Eventually, I saw an ad from Cappy. On Facebook, he was like, hey, looking for an audio engineer who knows how to use Pro Tools. If you know how to use Pro Tools, you know, send me a resume. I saw that. While I was in Full Sail, I had got the mentality of, like, adding people from my city, Orlando and Fort Myers, that are in the music industry, per se. Like, if I saw you in a picture of, like, in a studio or a picture of you doing something music-related, I feel like I had to add you. Like, you're doing something
That's
in my
smart.
world. So like even artists I wanted to work with, I look up their managers, their cameraman, their assistant. I'll add them on social media. Like I want whoever I want to work with around me. And me and Cappy somehow were friends on Facebook, so I saw the ad. And yeah, so I sent a resume. He was like, "Yo, would you be down to come in for an interview?" I was like, "Sure." Came in for an interview. I guess he'd been going through mad people interviewing, and off rip, I was like, "Yeah, I did this with Richie Ray. What I told you about the Billboard." He's like, "That's cool. You know, I'm not really worried about Billboard credits. I don't care about none of that stuff. I just want to know if you know how to do your job good and you're good with people and stuff." So he's more genuine. I think that's when I realized like, oh, okay, so credentials don't really matter to people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to a certain extent it does, but for the most part, he was just looking for something genuine. And, you know, I was actually really nervous when I first met Cappy, because Cappy had a legit thing going, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I really wanted that. And I was so, like, I hadn't got nothing. And I don't want to be a failure, you know? I went to school for this. And, you know, you think if it's not happening in your city and you don't know who to connect to in other cities, what do?
Yeah.
Eventually, he tested me out. He said, "Yo, can you come this day? You know, come shadow, come hang out." So I came. I pulled up, hung out. He said, "Cool. I got another session coming. Come hang out." Sure, I'll come hang out. Anytime he hit me up, it's like, "Yo, I might have this new client. Would you like to try the session out?" And obviously, he was gonna be posted there. He watched me. You know, I did my session. He said, "Cool. All right. So let's you know, it built up the relationship, and him seeing me. He'll sit on my sessions and just watch.
Go on out.
Yeah, no problem. My first client actually was Ben Chandler too, which is funny
Oh, sick.
because he's a dope local artist.
Yeah.
So, 2016 was my first session ever.
Man. So, so Cappy owns the facility?
Yeah, Cappy owns a facility. He originally had it in Naples, and then eventually decided to move it to Fort Myers, which is a better location because it's in between Naples and the rest of Southwest Florida. It's like really in the middle.
Okay. And so Ben Chandler, I've heard his music. It's I don't know how to exactly describe the genre. It's not exactly rap, right? It's more of like a indie feel, right?
Yeah, Ben Chandler's real dope. Actually.
Yeah, no, it's sick.
He plays guitar. He can program beats. He sings. He writes. He recently just got signed to Atlantic.
Oh, word.
What?
I don't know if I'm supposed to say that. I'll confirm after. He's cool. He's been telling people, but yeah, he's actually a new upcoming artist that people don't know about yet, like that in the city.
Yeah.
Obviously, Dom, he's pretty much the milestone.
Yeah. But so for Ben to be your first client, were you already used to working with like a music in that genre, or was that new?
No, I usually did like rap music. You know, that's
Yeah.
why I was either rap or I expected a reggaeton or something. But Ben, he literally my first session ever. He's recording guitar and trying to do vocals, and he wasn't the best singer at that time. Like he was nasty with the guitar, but he was kind of timid on the microphone as well.
Mm-hmm.
So for me not knowing how to handle the situation, we were both timid, if that made sense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We were both learning, but you know, come 4 years later, we were both in LA just this past weekend together working.
That's
know what I mean?
awesome. Yeah.
So it was pretty dope. But within time, you know, Cappy was shadowing me, eventually to where he let me do sessions on my own. But I was a backup engineer. Originally, right when I first got there, it was Zay. I don't even know who Zay is. He works a lot with artists now in Miami. He lives in Miami. He's been working a lot with Circle House, Hit Factory. He's really dope.
Okay. Yeah, I think I have heard of him.
Eventually, he ended up moving to Miami, and I ended up, you know, becoming the next in line, the only engineer at the facility. And for a minute, that's pretty much what the workflow was, you know. I'd come in there. First, I started off just recording, and Cappy finished off the mixes. And it came to the point where I would finish off the mixes to where I'm also a DJ, and my schedule's getting hectic during spring break because I used to be the DJ at Lanikai, one of the DJs at Lanikai. And I used to host a booty shaking contest every day, pretty much. So, you know, I'm DJing 40 hours a week during the whole month of March. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the studio needs to keep business running. At that time, Eddie Rock, he was actually an upcoming artist, but he was also shadowing some sessions because Chris Daniels used to come a lot in sessions and bring Eddie Rock with him. And then Eddie would be next to me like, "Hey, do you mind if I ask you some questions? Like, I'm interested in engineering." And he's like, "Yo, I would like to be an engineer. What I got to do?" I was like, "Yo, just email Cap, you know, talk to him." But yeah, whatever he asked, I'd tell him. First thing I remember, he was asking about a compressor. And, you know, he became the next in line as a backup engineer to eventually the point where it was like, all right, after March, it was like, all right, we have kind of like our own little clientele, even clients that we don't mind sharing. Like, I'm not worried about competition at the end of the day. Because no matter what, every person will always have their own sound, but we're good enough friends to understand to where like, yo, that's your client, it's my client. But sometimes artists prefer certain people. you know, and that's just what it is. But we have enough clientele to where it's not like we're gonna bring each other down. We encourage each other. So, you know, with him being on board, I was excited about it because there's a lot of people coming to the facility. I can't do it all. And Cappy stopped taking sessions once, you know, he was working more with Universal. So now at this point, Eddie's no longer the backup engineer. We're just equal engineers. And we have a great workflow together. So I've been more. And he's actually a dope artist. I can't.
Dude, yeah.
Most people don't even know he's an engineer, actually. I'm talking about him as Eddie, the engineer, but he's actually phenomenal as an artist. He just hit 1 million streams. So he's dope.
Nice.
He hit 1 million?
kills it.
He just hit 1 million streams recently with Brandon Bennett.
What? Yeah, dude.
Sick.
Yeah,
I was
man.
actually listening to their song this morning, actually.
Bro, a kid never went to Chicago before. They went out there for a performance, and everyone in the crowd was just rapping the lyrics really loud. Can you imagine that energy? Like,
Yeah.
you've
For
never been
real,
somewhere and
dude.
You're coming there for a performance, and everyone's singing your shit loud. Like,
That's insane, bro.
yeah, he's nasty. I think he's one of my favorite upcoming artists right now. Not to be biased, but like literally, because he's actually that dope. He puts a lot of hours into his craft and time. You know, he records himself. Everything you hear is him recording himself and mixing himself.
That's crazy, dude.
So like, I'm a DJ producer and he's an artist, but we both engineer at the facility too, and that's something we take pride in. You know, it's a solid brand. You know, Cappy built a certain expectation, and luckily we've been the ones that, you know, uphold that. You know,
Yeah,
there's a
that's
lot of people
awesome.
still been trying to get there. In due time, you know, more other engineers will be in there as we continue to grow, but it looks like, you know what I mean.
I feel like that's a solid mentor to have, like as you're
He's the best.
learning
He's
and
one of
getting
the most
into
humble
it.
people I've met for being in his position. You know,
Yeah.
he's a brother to us. He's not. We don't look at him as like a boss or anything because we're also freelance technically. You know? But nah, he's always gave us insight and always try to include him in anything he's doing. You know, and to the point where he's had us come to Miami to engineer for artists under the label. You know what I'm saying? So, yo, I got an engineer I'd rather work with. He's my guy. Don't worry, go to, and we got that experience. You know, we go to the big cities and work with big artists, and then we come back home. We apply that to everyone in the city.
That's sick, dude.
So, you know, we're not just kids that never left the city. They're just out here like, oh, trying to figure it out. Like,
You're
know
building
what's
some
up.
shit.
Now we're just trying to keep growing with it, you know?
Yeah. One question I wanted to get into a little bit before it's about time for break, right? I'm sure you got crazy Lonnie Kai stories. We're
Oh
working
my
there all the
God.
time. What if you could just lay one, like off the top of your head, craziest Lonnie Kai story that you're allowed to say? Yeah, do you know who Evan Seals is?
Who?
Evan Seals, audio. He's a sound guy around town. He works for like venues and
I
stuff.
might have ran into. I'm not sure.
He was telling some crazy Lonnie Kai stories last time he was in here.
So Lonnie and Kai, I mean, they're all crazy. Lonnie and Kai's crazy.
It is.
What's the craziest thing you've seen happen to somebody? Because he was talking about like cops tackling people and like dude blowing his hand off with fireworks.
The DJ getting down from the booth in the middle of Wild Thoughts and knocking out a guy in the dance floor and getting back to continue his mix. I was that guy too. Yeah.
What?
I got down from the booth and I got in a fight with someone and he was on the ground getting dragged out by security. I'm not something proud about it, but he had it coming. He was just,
Yeah.
it was this drunk dude just kind of getting abrupt, and every girl like was leaving the club because he kept coming up to them all aggressive. You know that guy in the club that thinks like he's sloppy and just being disrespectful, and then he tried to come up to the booth and yell at me and disrespect me. So yeah,
You said, hold up a second.
I'm all about peace, but I had thought about it, I was like, damn, I never forget it because Wild Thoughts, Rihanna came on, wow, 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 and he's just on the ground bleeding, and I get back on stage, and I transition to my next song, like nothing just happened, because it was the beginning of the night too, so it wasn't like super packed, where it was like a big crazy scene, so people didn't realize some guy was just on the ground knocked out, but besides that, I mean, pretty much it's just fights at Lonnie Kai, man. I can't really, crazy is like a fight, you know, there's all kinds of fights, especially spring break. Every spring break, we bring in more security, and there's more fights, you know what I mean? There's always fights, you know?
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but that's really not because of Lonnie Kai itself, it's just because of spring break, you know? There's fights in Miami, there's fights in any spring break location.
Yeah.
You get a bunch of drunk people trying to be macho with all the girls around, you know? Especially when we got a booty shaking contest going on.
For real.
Yeah.
Usually that's when the fights happen, you know?
Yeah. So have you been working for the Lonnie Kai every spring break for
I did the last, not this past one, but the last 2 years before that, and then I stopped working at Lonnie Kai. Just not really the place I want to be at. Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel you.
Should we take a quick break?
Yeah. Yeah. We should wrap it up for the.
All right, I'm going to reset the
Yeah.
cameras and all that. Enjoy the ads in the meantime. I got to let Gohan in.
Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? When I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show into all the apps people like to listen? How do I make money from my podcast? The answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise on your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing by reading this ad. And let me tell you guys a little bit about Anchor. So, like I said, it's a one-stop shop, distributing, you put your podcast on. It couldn't be easier to use. My brother and I, when we started this podcast, we're looking around for a website. Where do we get our podcast up and running? How do we get it? Literally those exact questions. How do we get it on iTunes? How do we get it on Spotify? And I was trying to do that stuff by myself. And that's when I started looking up. And there's other ones you can use like JPod and all that. But let me tell you, Anchor, nobody's going to do it as great as Anchor. And most of all, it's free. So that's what you always do, man. That's what you love, is Anchor being free. So if you've always wanted to start a podcast, make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start. That's anchor.fm/start to join me in the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. Once again, that's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast.
Yes! Welcome back. Thank you for watching the ads. So to get right into it, on break we were talking about a little bit. You work with Alex. Did you work with him on what he recently released? It was
his EP, the Fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I recorded every track.
Damn, dude.
I pretty much had the way the EP pretty much sounds. It's pretty much how I had it mixed for the most part. Actually, the mix pretty much sounds how we left it. Me and Ben pretty much did that together. We worked heavily together on it. Ben Chandler is actually a really big part of Alex's vibe sometimes. Like me and him, when we work together, Alex feels most comfortable. And we'll lay down ideas and sounds to him, get it right. And, how finalization. Cappy, actually, I think he finalized the project with the mixes and stuff. Like, he came in and was like, all right, let me do some minor tweaks, Capify it real quick.
Capify it.
Yeah, that's how I call it. Every time he comes in, just a little touch. But
Straight up.
Man. Yeah, I was hands-on with that whole project. I was there for every single song, every single session, every single hour.
Dang. That's awesome.
How old was he whenever you started working with him musically?
I think it's only been like a year and a half.
Oh, because I was going to say,
his birthday's actually tomorrow.
Oh, word.
He's actually releasing his a new single, Stranger, actually tomorrow. That I fully recorded mix.
No
First
way.
song ever fully recorded mix for Alex, actually.
What?
I just did it in LA. I finished the mix in LA and then came right back. Originally, they sent it to an engineer in Sweden, and I guess Alex wasn't really happy with the way it is. Because usually my references, my final mixes, sound, like for the reference, sounds pretty much close to what he wants as a final. So they're basically having an engineer who has some credentials, kind of match up to it and then do his thing. But they ended up wanting me to finish it. So it was pretty cool. Label reached out like, yo, can you just finish the mix? We wanted you, and they loved it. So they sent out to be mastered. It got mastered, and it's already ready. So he's uploading it tomorrow. It's called Stranger.
Stranger, nice.
It's my first fully recorded mix song. So.
Sick.
Hell
Go
yeah.
stream that because it'll be up by the time this episode gets up.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yes,
Go
sir.
stream that.
So, what would you regard as far as things you've done so far as kind of like your top achievement?
My top achievement?
Yeah.
I don't know, because I don't want to say a top achievement because then that's
Or just any moment that you're super proud of, like you look back on, you're like, hell yeah, I did
that. I'm
that.
honestly just proud to be a part of the facility more than anything, because I've been there for 4 years now, and recently also became a studio manager. So it's like I'm really hands-on with Cappy's vision of the studio, which to me says a lot for the city because he has a certain distinct vision of his quality, and him being my mentor. Homie's got a Grammy, he's multi-platinum, and I'm running his studio with our homie Eddie. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
to me, that's a big staple in the city. The fact that we've had Baby Jake, Dominic Fike, Alex Fike, Matt Black. You know what I'm saying? Brendan Bennett in and out. We've even had artists like Matt Hunter that's just pulled up there, Fuego, and Cappy, and other industry, professionals that are really dope, coming through there. So I feel like we're one of the studios in the city that is definitely making noise behind the scenes, but, in the outcome of everything we do, it's a bigger picture, So I'm happy to be a part of that family.
Yeah.
You know, between me, Eddie, and Cappy. Aside from that, also, you know, this trip from LA was a big milestone for me, because the fact that, you know, the trip was covered by a label for me to come out there because of what I do, it must say a lot about what I'm doing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Man. Yeah. And I what about on like the DJing front? Is there anything in that realm that you regard as like, hell yeah, bro, I did that?
I'm currently on Power Radio with G-Man. You know, he started a new, it's actually a really badass online radio station, which eventually he's hoping to push to FM and satellite. I'm one of the DJs on there, but I mean, I used to DJ weekly on television, on Univision, not Telemundo, Azteca TV. You know, working with them, I was doing every week. Like, it was a music show, so like they'll do the newest music videos, like J Balvin's new music video was doing us, and in between sets and stuff, I'll be spinning reggaeton mixes and stuff.
Damn.
So it's cool doing that, you know what I mean? They'll interview reggaeton artists and stuff, and like eventually led to me doing, like I got to DJ at an award show sponsored by Goya and Mercedes.
What?
For, like, local businesses, and it was a big event. It was a really big event. So like I did that. I did radio 105.5 a little bit. Did concerts. I opened up DJing reggaeton for Elvis Crespo, the guy who does Suavemente. He had a concert out here,
dude.
but I still got to spin. It was a badass concert. It was still he's a low key legend. As played out as that song is, you know, that's pretty cool. And when I was in Orlando, I used to DJ for Juvenile's son. His name is Young Juve. He had a clique named Elite, and I used to DJ their events. I used to DJ for them. You know, I even saw Juvenile before. That was pretty cool. You know, living in Orlando, so. I mean, I feel like I've done it. I pretty much feel like I've done it all for the most part, but now I'm looking into touring more worldwide.
Yeah.
So like, the goal would be like, you know, within God's time, you know, either artists I'm working with heavily, SB Nuke, who's really dope, I'm helping him manage, or Alex, you know, something going on with some shows, you know, get that experience touring.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time.
I was literally collaborating with Lil Dicky's tour DJ when I was in LA, because he produces, and you know, gaining that knowledge from him, I was learning like the pros and cons of everything. But at the end of the day, you know, you don't know till you try it.
Facts.
So I feel like I've done radio, I've done television, I've done live events, concerts, big clubs, you know, shows. I pretty much done it all. So now I'd be just doing touring concerts.
Go on tour, hell
as
yeah.
a DJ, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I love that. At this point in my career as a DJ, I'm in the point of where I choose my gigs rather than just take everything that comes my way. And I'm comfortable with that because the studio business has been well to me. So
Yeah.
that's why I continue striving. And I feel like in the long run, the longevity of my career, being an executive producer and an engineer with heavy hitters, you know, that's where I'm looking to aim for. And then, you know, I'm still going to DJ. That's something that never leaves me. I have the turntable set up at home. When I go home, I got to do my radio mix. So, you know,
Hell yeah. Grinding.
I'm always going to be around, but I'm just a little bit more picky with that. As engineering and producing, I want to take it all and see what I can create out of that and build something even better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can only imagine how you feel, because like even from our perspective, as far as this area goes, we just as like fans of the stuff, listeners on, you know, we look at the shit up on Spotify when the artist posts about it, and like we see the cool stuff everyone's doing, and like just the amount of talent. Like I was saying, like before we started recording, the amount of talent in this area is wild, and it's like, and
Yeah,
a lot
it's
of people
crazy.
don't even realize it, you know.
People
And I can only
actually-
imagine from your perspective what you see.
Yeah, but no, I hear artists all the time. I'm just like, yo, I wish I had $1 million right now, like, or something to invest into them. But
Yeah.
eventually, you know, that'd be another goal of mine. I strive to do. Eventually, I plan on starting a label with the proper investment to give the artists what they deserve, as well as, you know,
Yeah.
to solidify my reasoning for investing to someone. But until the time comes, right now, you know, I'm just sitting here watching everyone grow, and it's awesome to be a part of it. I feel like a majority of the best tracks coming out Southwest Florida right now, I get to be hands-on with it. So being a part of that is cool, you know. A lot of
Yeah.
people recognize me out here and show me a lot of gratitude, or you know, show me love for that, and I just want to keep running with that, kind of keep the torch going, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
How do you feel like as far as this area goes? What do you kind of envision in like 5 years from now? What this place is going to look like as a creative person?
I mean, pretty much where it looks like it's going right now. More great, talented people like yourselves, like creating more media platforms for people to be heard and discovered, to the point where I feel like there's gonna be a lot more artists being known out here, to where people like not bypassing Fort Myers, Southwest Florida, Naples, and all that. You know, there was a time where it's just Miami when you're in Florida, maybe even Tampa, but now it's like, you know, I feel like Dom was one of those stepping stones. Granted, Plies, you know, back in the day got signed from out here. But once he got signed, he left, and that was it. No one really knows much about it.
Yeah.
You know, Dom, he's still out here. He pulls up.
Yeah. And he's a part of this like close knit network, you know, of like all the Backhouse dudes and Slight and all them, and Cappy at the facility.
He's not the first to do what he's doing, you know, but he's definitely branding it correctly. You know what I mean? I feel like naturally he's got great creative vibe going on. You know, his manager Reed's been holding him down pretty hard, so you know, I feel like he's a good representation of the dream is definitely reachable here. The biggest thing I hate is when people say you gotta leave the city to, you know, to make it.
Me too.
That's bullshit.
Yeah. You can do that in your fucking
Don
bedroom.
was chilling in here in a jail cell, and look at him.
Facts.
Straight up. And that's
Good
what
music. Good music.
one thing we've been concluding through like people we've met and like connections we've made is that you can like the amount of people there are around here with talents in different areas, you as a creative person, whether it's music or visual art or whatever, can achieve stuff. You know what I mean? Like if you need like a website built, there's people all over here that could help you with that. And like if you need professional photography, there's some dope photographers.
Everyone in the city's definitely working together more. I feel like everyone's starting to pop up. It's like, oh shit, you're doing videos now. Oh wow, you're doing photography. Oh, you're making beats now. Oh, you're singing now. Like But also, like you said, like you know, like what you guys are doing, the Renaissance is right now, and it's like
it is.
People are bringing those flat platforms, just bringing everyone together. You have different people doing more showcases. There's a lot of things more active for people to get out there and show it. And then I feel like now we're starting to make noise for sure. With that happening, you know, the labels are definitely watching out here. They're in tune now. You know, they've been in tune. You know, within the last couple of years, we've had several artists signed to major record labels that a lot of people still don't even know about. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
You don't have to, you know, I always tell people don't think local, think global, you know?
Facts.
So, I mean, just because they don't know you here don't mean the world don't care. Eddie went to Chicago. Everyone's literally saying every lyric because of how much they liked it and how streaming just hit out there in Chicago.
Yeah.
They're getting an algorithm that said, yo, boom, Chicago's booming. You know? So
It's only a matter of time, dude. And it's cool to have so many examples. Like Dom is an example to look towards if you're someone musically that wants to do that, wants to go the signed route and whatever. That's an example now. It's like he lived right over there. And like, you know, here's the people he contacted and the things he learned and did and to get him to where he was. And it can inspire someone's fire.
correct.
You know?
I feel like half the time too, I mean, call it fate or luck or whatever, but at the end of the day, good music is good music. And if someone hears it, the right person hears it, that could change your life. So just keep doing good music and keep releasing it. Obviously, package it the best you can and show it to the world the best you can in quality. But, you know, there's always going to be someone who can see the bigger picture of what you're doing. So, like, even if it's not the best quality, but it sounds like a dope record, you know, it is what it is. You know? You got to work what you can with your budget, but you know what I'm saying?
Yep. Have you ever worked with Busy Crook?
I've been around him plenty of times, but we actually personally haven't worked together. Like, been plenty of sessions where he's come at the facility, he's working with Cappy or something, and I'm a part of the, you know, vibe of everything going on, you know. But me personally, I haven't recorded him, so he'd be credited on any tracks. But he's dope.
Yeah.
Me and Biz actually rode the same bus when I was like in 10th grade in high school. I usually see him all the time. He used to go to the back of the bus, put his headphones on, he'd just be spitting. He'd just be rapping when he walks off the bus. I didn't know he was Busy Crook at that time. I just knew like, oh, some kids was rapping. And just like he didn't know I was DJ Promo at that time. Like, we just saw each other. But we were on the same exact bus. It was crazy.
Damn, yeah.
We always had mutual friends, you know what I mean?
Yeah, someone like that, like Busy surprised me because he's been around, he says in his music, you know, he's been around here for a long time and been grinding at it heavily. And to see where he is now, like we've just recently, like in the past 2 years, you know, done the podcast, and so I've like just seen Busy in the past 2 years, like caught on to who he is and what he's doing.
Yeah,
and it's crazy to like.
He's been here for a minute. He's got songs with Lloyd, Nelly,
yeah.
Traded Truth. I think he got a song with King Los. He's got a nice little rap sheet. He went on tour to Europe and out here with Kid Ink. You know what I mean? He did.
Damn.
He's pretty solid. He knows the industry. He's the industry for at least the closest he can from out here. I don't know what's necessary exactly per se his deal, what's going on right now, but I mean, seems like he's been doing pretty well out for an independent artist, you know. So he's still, you know, at the end of the day, we you know can never say we've all made it yet. You know, we're still far from that, but we definitely in a good direction. You know?
Yeah. Yep. Man.
We can get into the last topics if you want to.
Okay. Yeah, we can.
One thing we ask, one thing that we ask everyone who's sitting in this seat, because especially someone like you, is we always ask who you would like to see sitting there next. And if you could just name one person off the top of your head, who would you like to see
Eddie
come in?
Rock.
Hey.
Yeah.
He's been on, dude. We've been in contact with him for a minute. It just hasn't linked
He
up
actually
yet.
texted me today when I was on. I wish I could be there. So, I mean, just reach out to him. It's not that
Yo,
hard.
and if
He
you want,
sucks at communication. You're not the only ones. I got clients. I got freaking the world telling me like, yo, hit up Eddie. He's the worst with communication.
if you're watching this, Eddie, I have a painting for you too. So once you get here, I'll give the painting to you.
That's fire.
Yeah,
Okay.
I saw him at a Kava Culture event one time, and he asked for like there was one painting I did, but he wanted it like a different character, the same style, and I'm like, I got you.
Okay. Hey. Yo, he would love that. Yeah, I'm gonna talk shit to him.
I want to come by the facility too sometime,
Yo,
dude.
anytime you guys want to come through and do something, come just check it out. catch
Yeah,
the vibe.
yeah, for
Fire.
sure.
You know, besides Eddie though, too, Alex would be a character for you to have on here.
Yeah, we've been in talks with him.
Hey,
I wanna
he'd
get
actually
him
be a
on.
wild one. You would love that. I'd actually want to come for that just to hang out.
Dude,
outside.
I would want to make
That's
that
like
more.
my brother right there. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
be
sometimes we'll do Saturday episodes. Like we'll record them Saturdays, so we have like a whole bunch of time to just
you're
like
gonna
do
have
whatever.
to tell him to come at 2 hours before the time you want him to come. Trust me.
Straight up, straight up. Is there anything else you want to get into before we start wrapping it up, Danny?
We can wrap it up. I do want to say though, bro, you've got so many milestones on your fucking
For
resume
real,
that You
dude.
just
I
you've been
appreciate
killing
that,
it,
dude.
bro.
I
Hell
really
yeah.
don't like feel like that as much, but I appreciate that.
It's cool, it's cool.
She could tell you like I be, man. Because at the end of the day, it's like until I have like, it's not about the materialistic things, but like for me, it's like until I have the car and the business I want to invest into, like until my music really covering me, where I want the financial freedom, I feel like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
No, I can feel you.
But you're right. Though sometimes like for instance, the other day I was just saying like 16-year-old me would be so proud right now. Because it was just a dream for me just to be in a studio.
Yeah.
Now I'm not just in the studio. I'm literally helping to manage a studio for a Grammy awarded producer signed to Universal.
Yeah.
And like I don't like to throw that card out, but just really sitting back and thinking about it, it's like damn, like there's a lot of people still to this day throwing in resumes at the studio, and like it's been 4 years strong. You know what I'm saying?
Hell
Yep.
So like I can't wait to see where I'm gonna go in my career, because like he set a certain expectation to me to where like, you know, it feels like it's going like this and up. You know.
Hell yeah.
And that's awesome to see, because like you have reached some milestones, and you are.
Yeah,
it's important to
definitely.
be proud of it, but you're staying humble, and you know that like this, I'm here now, and like
Yeah.
I've done some shit, but like this is where I want to
Yeah,
be.
'cause you know, when you feel like you're on the top, the only way you could go is down. So it's like,
Exactly.
why stop yourself?
Mhm.
You know, if it's like, it was a dream just to get a Billboard credit. Now it's the dream to get a Grammy. Now what happens when you get a Grammy? You know what I mean? Like what's next? So I would just want to keep growing myself as a person. You know, as a father, as a DJ, as a producer, as a boyfriend, everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, and also now at this point in my career, I've come to the conclusion now it's time for me to release my first project. So, as a producer, engineer, DJ, and all that, I realized I want to find the best artists in the city that I feel fit from a personal connection and create new tracks. So I plan on actually dropping singles soon. So like,
Hell yeah.
you know, Alex is one of the artists I plan on collaborating with. Matt, Eddie, artists like June, Chris Catlin,
June's dope.
Sling, One Way TV. I could keep going.
Hell yeah.
Shout
Sorry.
them out, dude. I
Hell
love
yeah.
it.
Bro, I
So
go
many awesome
hard
people
for the
around
city,
here.
But I plan on actually, I want to do 2 projects. I want to do a compilation project, like a little DJ mixtape with songs I've engineered. But it's like DJ Promo presents like shit that I've actually been hands on.
Yeah.
And actually create from scratch. I got a list of dope producers like Diligé, you got Ryan, you got Cassius K, Jay Diaz, Marla Vaci, my brothers right there, Curiosity. These are just some of a few producers I want to actually work with personally that we've already talked since I was in LA. You know, we're going to come back, we're going to collaborate on production. I'm going to find the right artists, I'm going to engineer them, get them right, and then try to push and package something to where we can make the world see like what the city's making. You know what I mean?
That's
Hell
awesome.
yeah,
It's
dude.
gonna be tight. So it's time for me to be
Hell
on
yeah.
my college shit. You know what I mean? DJ Promo featuring.
yes, sir.
Hell yeah.
Dude, thank you for everything you do, for real. Because like
For
like you
real.
I
like
appreciate
your own
that.
personal accomplishments, but you're doing a lot for the collective too, and that's fucking awesome.
You know, I didn't really think about it until you guys hit me up. I was like, shit, I must be doing something then. So, I appreciate that. It's actually really humbling for you guys having me on here. Actually
Hell yeah.
feels really good. It's like a milestone. This is my milestone. I feel like at this point,
Hey,
my first
hell
interview.
yeah.
Hell yeah, bro. And
Wow.
dude, the world's
Podcast.
next.
Yeah. I mean, I've done like news and interviews and stuff with my music, but like this is like I think this is cooler to me than the news.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Just
podcast
chill
This is more
vibe.
about
Vibe.
the culture, which is what I'm about. I hate the whole, you know, gotta keep authentic.
Straight up, dude.
Yep.
If you want to look at this camera, you can plug anything you want to plug, any websites or services or Instagrams or anything
Yeah.
like that.
All right, so you want to follow me on Instagram? You can follow me at DJ Promo Official. Website in the making. got some new music coming with some artists in the city. So appreciate you guys for having me. You already know City of Palms.
Yee.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming, bro.
Appreciate you, man.
Where can they find
Yeah,
us at,
thank
Danny?
you. You can find us at City of Palms Podcast on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, anywhere you listen to podcasts. Subscribe to us on YouTube. If we get to 1,000 by episode 100, this man's going to give me a tattoo. He does not have any prior tattoo experience. So
We'll see how that goes.
yeah.
Man,
Subscribe.
invite me to that.
This has been episode 70. Hit him with the outro, Sorn.